talking about holiday homeschooling, and I'm sharing with you some of my thoughts and ideas around that. Usually after Thanksgiving, you have that long week break. It's really hard to get back into homeschooling again. And it's been a couple of weeks since that time frame. And I know there's been several families that have probably already taken the month off for December. A lot of homeschool families choose to do that. We haven't done that before, but we have taken 3 weeks off for December. We did that last year. And this year I wanted to try something just a little bit different. And while we will be taking traditionally some time away from school, we will continue homeschooling through the holidays. Now, what do I mean by that? This is something that I really want you to consider and to think about. Basically, should you keep homeschooling or should you take an official break? Now, I know that taking a break has its benefits. I mean, for the children and for us as homeschooling parents. And it's really hard sometimes to even get back into the flow of homeschooling after our first holiday of the season, which is Thanksgiving that we celebrate, and just kind of get it going again. And you're tired and the kid's tired, and you kind of realize like, oh, that was a really nice refresher and I want to kind of keep going. It's not long enough is what I hear and what I experience personally. And so we did go back into homeschooling just like our traditional plan that we do. We are an eclectic / traditional homeschooling family. And so while we do a lot of independent learning, we also have some structures around our foundational subjects such as reading, math, writing, history, just basically your core areas. And then I really try to dive into their interests, which we do a lot of art and we have music as well incorporated into our homeschool. So here's where I challenge you, because this challenged me in the very beginning when I heard it, and I began to embrace it, and it really began to make a lot of sense for me. For as long as I can remember, before I even had kids or even the thought of homeschooling was in my mind, I was informed of this idea that we as parents are homeschooling our kids from day one, whether or not we realize it or not. So from the time that you are a parent and you bring your child home, you're homeschooling them. Look at all we do as parents, even before we reach the preschool and elementary ages. We bring them home, and from that moment, we begin teaching them. We're teaching them how to eat. We're teaching them as they grow, crawling and walking and their first words. And so we're already teaching them their language and how to speak and interact with other people. And so I embraced that idea, as I mentioned, and reflected on that even before I had kids. I just had a hard time calling it homeschooling. I was just like, I'm parenting my child. And I never embraced it because I just never saw myself as a homeschooling parent, or we never saw ourselves as a homeschooling family at the time. And so I was just like, well, yes, of course, I'm parenting my child. Aren't all parents doing this? As time has gone by, I've just embraced that terminology and have realized that I too have been homeschooling my children from the time I brought them home with me. And so it's taking that idea that you're always homeschooling through the holidays with your children, and to know that learning continues even though you may stop a formal type of lesson. And so to get into these 3 ideas and tips that I want to share with you, and they may challenge your thinking, but I hope that you consider them. If you either stopped and taken the month off for homeschool, it should be really easy to reincorporate this. Or if you hadn't quite decided yet, I know some parents are just taking a long weekend for Christmas time and for New Year's. But decide if you want to use any of these and how they may work best for your family. So that basically is my first idea. And just to reiterate it, it is realizing that you are always homeschooling your children and that you will continue to do so every day, whether you realize it or not. But now realizing that you are, and embracing that, and taking advantage of the daily opportunity to continue teaching, educating, thus homeschooling your child through the holidays. So how do you do that? You basically look for opportunities for that to happen. For example, we will take a break. I believe breaks are important. But during that time, there will become a day where during the holidays, we actually stop doing our traditional schooling. We'll stop doing some of the foundational lessons and worksheets and things like that. And it will shift gradually. And at the same time, I will incorporate some of the activities that I typically would do during that break into homeschool also, so that it kind of links them and they kind of cross paths. And it's just such a gradual transition into the holiday, just changing the way learning continues to happen so that they can realize and see that there actually is a mind break happening, which I value and I think is very, very important. So much happens when you allow your brains to rest. And I saw such tremendous processing having taken place after our holidays last year, after Christmas and New Year's last year in my children. It was just like they were a new child. They had grown and developed so much, and I truly direct that towards them just having a brain break. And so really valuing the brain break. And at the same time, I'm saying continue to educate, continue to allow your child to learn. So in talking about that, once again, some of these activities and things that we're doing that will allow me to continue homeschooling them cross over into things that we do as a family for Christmas. So whether or not it is doing artwork, something that they enjoy, and allowing them to expand on that skill set and that talent and gift that they have. You have already done some of that through painting ornaments. And we also have a family tradition of building gingerbread houses. And so a way for me to incorporate and make a little change in that is to, let's talk about making sure that our gingerbread housing fits together properly, and let's measure it out. Let's measure the pieces and how do we put this together? What kind of foundation do we have to have? And that's really up my alley because what I do outside of home is in the business of real estate. And so there's a lot of business skill and knowledge that I want to teach and give my children as they are learning and growing, even at elementary age. So let me just kind of go over and reiterate these 3 ideas and areas, since I've kind of been all over the place in sharing them. I want to make sure that you walk away having identified these 3 areas. Number 1 is realizing that you're homeschooling always, even if you don't realize it. Number 2 is just looking for those opportunities to continue educating your children in their day-to-day activities, and doing it in a way where it's not dampening the moment with your child. You want to keep fun. And so I think learning is fun and can be fun. It's all about how you do it. And so just know that you can still allow fun to happen while you take those moments of educating your child. And of course, the last thing is making sure that you do take that brain break for yourself, for your children, that you do take that time to just step away briefly and allow your children's mind to process all that you've been teaching them this first semester of school, and so that they come back on a new level and ready to learn and grow and just to be engaged. Those are my holiday homeschooling tips and ideas. And so I hope that you found value in this video, and I'm so glad you clicked on it. And thank you so much for watching today. My name is Holly. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'd love for you to join. You can do so by clicking the subscribe button, and make sure you click the bell so you'll be notified of my next video. We'd love to have you join our community. Happy holidays and happy homeschooling.